Greetings everyone, Brad here with Mile Manor DDC, and today I wanted to share with you something a little different for the channel, something that means something to me, and that's a fixed blade, and in fact a custom fixed blade that I had ordered not that long ago from Richard Osborne Knives. If you haven't followed him over on Instagram, if you are on Instagram, go check him out. He's also got a website too, but yeah, just really super cool guy, makes really good knives at a very reasonable price. And I'm not a huge custom guy. In fact, this is my first custom, as I mentioned. So I don't have, it's not something I'm really all that into. What's also different is that it's a fixed blade, right? And I'm not a huge fixed blade guy. In fact, I only have 3 in my collection and 2 of them are quite old. In fact, I'll just show them to you. So the first, well, I'll start with the newest. So this was one I had bought when I sort of was getting back into my knife hobby a while ago in earnest. And yeah, I mean, I've never carried it, never really did anything with it. It's a little CRKT Lucas Burnley. I never Achi, I guess Achi maybe. But yeah, kind of a fun little thing there. And then I have this old one. This one I've had forever. This is a Coast Cutlery. There you go, a Coast Cutlery. Been part of my collection from when I was a kid, and held up really nice. I mean, it's got some beautiful detail on it, and you know, I have no idea what the steel is or anything like that. As you can see, stainless Taiwan. But you know, and I used this some when I was a kid, but Boy Scouts and that sort of thing. But yeah, there's that one. And then the last one I have is sort of deeply personal to me, and that's this one. This was made by my grandfather. I'm sorry, it was given to me, commissioned by my grandfather. It was made by one of his longtime hunting buddies and friends. My grandfather was a big hunter, and this was something I got when I was a kid. I mean, I think I got this when I was like about 10 or 12 maybe, and it's just, I loved it. I mean, 1, I loved it because it came from my grandfather, and 2, it came from Trapper, one of his buddies, and like I said, it's just an amazing gift, and I love it for far more than sort of its you know, value just as a knife. But my grandfather's not around anymore, but yeah, so something sort of deeply personal to me, and I don't ever use it, although I know that probably would tick the man off knowing that I wasn't using the knife, but that's okay. He can't yell at me. So without further ado, before I go too far down memory lane here, let me introduce you to the knife that I ordered. So this is the Lil Slicer, little L-I-apostrophe-L, right? So that I can never pronounce that word very well. The Lil Slicer that I've picked up from Richard Osborne, had made in classic Mild Manor DDC colors, although he threw in a pop of green in there, which looks awesome, I think. Little tiny, you know, not a very big fixed blade by any stretch of the imagination, but for my purposes and what I was looking for, look, I already put a scratch on it because I was messing around with it. That kind of ticked me off, but I plan to use this knife, so I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, so you can see the maker's mark there. You can see made in the USA right there. Yeah, very cool. So let's talk. So Richard Osborne, maker out of Florida, does, I think, almost exclusively fixed blades, and does them really cool. And a million different styles, different sizes, almost all obviously made to order depending on what you need and what you like. So there you go. So let's talk a little bit about the specs. So I've got some warranty here. This is just his warranty card that came with it, and I'll show you here. So it comes with a little certificate of authenticity. So you get the 1.1 slicer. Actually, I think that's a little slicer. It's a 2.5-inch blade of 8CRV2 steel, which is a really tough steel. It's you know, I don't know that it's super common. I don't think a lot of people, it's certainly not very common in the production knife industry at all, but as far as fixed blade steels go, really resilient steel. So I thought that was pretty neat. It's got custom stainless steel screws, as you'll see there. And obviously a black and orange G10, handmade for Brad, April 1st, 2020, and then his signature. So, you know, very cool. I'll throw pictures up along the way that he sent me along the process. That's one of the things I wanted to sort of highlight about him. Not only was he really cool to deal with sort of right out of the gate, but I told him, I said, hey, this is going to be my first custom, and so I'm pretty excited about this. And he was awesome. He sent me all kinds of, he sent me information. He sent me pictures of the knife during its progress, during the heat treat, during the grinding, etc. And it was really cool. It made me feel, I think it was sort of twofold. One, it made me feel like it was something special, right? It was something different than what you normally get. Not only just the experience, not just purchasing a knife, but something being done by another human that you can put a face to. And yeah, so that there's that whole piece. And then on top of that, it was also just really neat to see how how his progress was occurring. And, this didn't take a long time. And that's, I'd heard, there's a lot of horror stories out there about, either ordering custom knives, never seeing them, never getting them, or they take forever, or, whatever the issue might be. And he was, clicking right along on whatever schedule he's on. I think he does a very reasonable number at a time and gets those done and then moves on to the next. So, I mean, my sense was, he takes all this very seriously and does each knife, gets it done, and gets it back out to the customer. And I thought that was pretty cool. And like I said, he was just really, really neat overall, just to deal with. So if it's something you want to check out, and I'll just get it out of the way here. So this particular knife was $150, which, to be honest with you, with this detail, the time, work, materials, the fact that it, like I said, made to order, handmade from somebody, in the United States, so it's a U.S. made knife, that feels pretty darn competitive to me. Now, and granted, this isn't a huge knife, right, by any stretch of the imagination. It's, like 2.5-inch blade. I think it's about 6.25 overall when I measured it from tip to tail here. It's not the biggest knife ever, but still felt quite reasonable. So I was pretty pleased by that. And in fact, that was another reason I was like, yeah, I think I need to do that. So there you go. I think the really pretty nice work on the grind there. I mean, it's I love the choil. It's got a great sharpening choil, makes that easy to use, easy to resharpen. It's got this coated blade, so the blade is what it is. Like I said, it's an 80 CRV2, interesting, tough steel. It's got the G10 in the sort of wavy / tigery kind of pattern here with the colors of the mild-mannered channel, which I really like. He had put this green on a version that I saw online, and I thought, oh yeah, I get that. I want to do that. That's cool. Just to add some variation in there and a little bit of pop. And then it comes with this cool lanyard. The other thing that I didn't have pictures of until later on was the sheath that it came with, and I wasn't sure what that was going to look like. So it's clearly a Kydex sheath, but it has sheath, but it also has this interesting kind of leather belt loop attached to it, which I think is pretty cool, and it's also branded Richard Osborne there. So, and this is all done really, if I can get this to focus, all done very well. Everything is very flush. There's no sharp spots or he clearly makes these for the knives, and yeah, it's just also very, very well done. So again, I kind of felt like for the price, for the whole package here, pretty darn reasonable. So this isn't so much a review. I mean, to be honest with you all, this is not something that I'm looking to tell you to get or not get, or I don't really do that anyways on this channel, but it's not like this was something I wanted. This is a little something personal for me here on the channel, and for me personally more than anything. This is something I wanted. Like I said, I'm a camper. I like camping. We do a lot of camping out here in the Pacific Northwest. I wanted a fixed blade that I could carry around with me. I didn't really want to take any of these. These are, obviously I really wasn't going to use this one. This one, not my style. And this, it's just something older from my collection. This felt perfect. Size, carryability, the whole thing, and it's mine, right? In the sense that it was something I ordered to my specs, and it was done by a really cool guy. And so it means something to me. It certainly will be a standard fixed blade here on the channel for obvious reasons. But no, I mean, it's. I just kind of wanted to share it with you all more than anything. That was kind of the goal of this. This isn't a formal review or anything. It's more of just sharing with you this little knife that I picked up that I'm really, really stoked about. I'm still irritated that I scratched the blade, but my OCD and honeymoon phase will subside eventually. But no, and as I will use this more, and I did some, I've been doing a ton of yard work lately. I'm so sore. So this has kind of been palling around with me out there. So at any rate, I hope you like this. I hope you check out Mr. Osborne. He does cool work. Thank you, Richard, for being so fun and easy to deal with. I really appreciate it. Thank you for making such a beautiful little knife. This is really something actually I'm going to treasure quite a bit and look forward to having in my collection forever and, passing on to my little ones, assuming they even want any of my knives or any of my stuff at that point down the road. But yeah, no, this means something to me. I like it a lot. I look forward to using it and carrying it. And I'm sure it'll make appearances from time to time here on the channel. So, and certainly over on Instagram if you follow me over there at mild-mannered EDC. So with that, thanks everybody. Stay safe out there. Be mild-mannered to one another. And all the best.